Hello, my name's Charlotte. I work at Skylark Vets, and today we are going to talk about the important subject of euthanasia. As pet owners, we all have a moment in our lives, which is very exciting, where we take on a new pet, be that we've had a pet that's had puppies, or we've gone to a pet shop, or we've gone to a rescue and taken on an animal as a second or even maybe a third or fourth home. That is always a very exciting moment, but with that comes the responsibility and the knowledge that at some point in our pet's life, they are going to depart this world and move on to the next. It can be very difficult as a subject for us to consider. It can also be something that, if we don't consider it before the time that our pet is coming to the end, can be very distressing. Now, that's not to say that we should all think of each of our pets going at every moment through their life. We absolutely shouldn't. It's really important that we enjoy them while they're with us. We love them, they have a wonderful life with us. And then when it comes to the end, that's when we need often a little bit of support in making the right decision for our pets. As a vet, it's my job and everybody else's job in my profession to try to help to guide you through that decision-making process as best you can. Our job is to be an advocate for your pet rather than for you directly. So what that means is that we will try to make the best decisions with you for your animal and for you, but specifically for your pet. Euthanasia is something that often we come to consider when our animals have a chronic illness. So they have been suffering with some form of ailment for a little bit of time, whether that's something that's very mild or whether it's something that takes on a more painful form or is debilitating. There will come a point in all of those pathways where we need to consider the welfare of the animal and also how much you can cope with at home. Of course, there are those situations which are very acute, and these can be even more distressing in some ways because we're not prepared for them at all, such as road traffic accidents or acute incidents, for example, of pancreatic cancer. Now, in all of those situations, many of us have difficulties with actually bearing the burden of responsibility to make what can often be the right decision for our pets. There are usually options for palliative care. There can be sometimes where actually a condition can be fixed. For example, a road traffic accident suffering a fracture, for example, may well be an animal that can reach a full recovery with a little bit of intervention medically or surgically. That's not always possible for you as an owner. Sometimes costs are involved as well, and that is completely normal and something that you should not feel guilty about. Again, our job is to present you with the varying options and then help to guide you through that process as to what might be best for your pet and for you. It is a huge privilege for us to help bear that responsibility because we understand how much these pets mean to you. They're family members. We all bond with our pets very strongly, and regardless of what size that animal might be or how long it's been in our lives, they are a family member. We hope always to be able to give you the best guidance that we can in terms of whether it's appropriate to medicate, whether actually the kindest thing might be to say goodbye, and at what point we make those decisions as well. Many people deal with feelings of guilt, or indeed they feel so bereft by the loss of their pet that they find it hard to cope. There are many organisations around the UK that help deal with bereavement, and that's not just for people or losing a family member, that does include pet bereavement, and we urge people to use those services where it's appropriate. We do have information that we give out if we have a client that's interested in knowing those information, or indeed we have someone that we know is really going to struggle and we think that information might help. We do also give the option to people of whether they would like to be present with their animal, and in our situation with our relatively unique setup, also whether they'd like to have the euthanasia performed at home or in a clinic. Now, there's no right or wrong to that decision either. What's right for one person and for one pet is not right for another. So being present with your pet at the end or not being present with your pet at the end does not put you in a better or a worse light in anybody else's eyes. It's just what you can deal with personally. The important thing to remember is the times that you've had with your pet throughout the years and how close you've been, what an excellent life they've had with you. That's really what you need to focus on, because you are their family. You are the person that they have formed their relationship with and had all of those years of enjoyment. And that's the kindest thing often, to let them go is the hardest thing to deal with. for us emotionally and personally. Again, if you are someone who wishes to be with your pet, then we would guide you through each of the parts of the euthanasia process before actually getting to that stage. And if you're someone who doesn't want to be with your pet, then always know that we will always give your pet cuddles. They'll never be alone when they go at the end. It's something that I do think people should think about before we get to that point. So often we talk about finding 3 things that really matter to your pet during their lifetime, and that can be something that changes over the years, or it could be something that's constant over the years. What we tend to say is as your pet starts to lose each of those 3 things, we're coming closer to the point where they're coming to the end of their life. Now, obviously, if your pet is in the position where they have an acute presentation, you may not have the opportunity of using those 3 things. It may be a very rapid decision is required. But if you are in the position where you've got some time to think about it, then I would urge you to find those 3 things. There can be anything that could be completely different for each animal, but all of us has something that's important to us, and that's the same for our pets. So find what those 3 things are, and that way when they start going, you're already mentally preparing yourself that actually we might be coming to the end now. It doesn't make that decision any easier at the end, but it can just help us to process that decision-making process in itself a little bit better in our brains and compartmentalize to help us emotionally stabilize ourselves. Euthanasia is something that is a very emotive subject, and it's something that we're always happy to have consultations about over the phone or in person, depending on what suits you better. And again, if you are someone that is nearing that decision process for your pet, we would say don't be afraid to give us a call, don't be afraid to get in touch, because we are here to help our clients as well as our pets, and we'd be very happy to talk to you. And it's, as I say, it's a privilege for us to help you through it.